Yes, I mean, Amy of this part. This one, the part they look me and beat it. I mean, thank you so much. All right, so we're live right now. Let's tell guys that we're live actually. So we're live right now. All right, guys. So we're live right now. We're live right now. Make sure you are here. If you are not here, you're missing out. All right, make sure you're here, guys. We're live. All right. So welcome everyone to this particular live stream. It's pretty much a very great thing that we all are actually here today, and then I'm going to be breaking down the charts as much as I can, and then we are going to be talking about certain things that every trader or any trader literally don't pay attention to. Okay, so we'll be talking about certain things like that. So now currently I'm currently on a buy on BTC USD, as you can see right there. And then we are looking at BTC buys all the way from, let's say, the zone where we once had a push to the upside, okay, which was the beginning of the push to the upside. And then we are looking at for a potential continuation towards the uptrend, all right? And then with that, now we can see that this is currently on the daily time frame. And what that means automatically is it is a position trade. That means we cannot potentially make so much of a profit right now until we are entering into 5 days, 4 days, and all of things like that. This is a very good opportunity for you to just watch your money without doing anything and just sitting down your hands outside and just like just watching and allowing the market just do its thing. So without any further ado, now we're going to just head on straight into how we be able to catch this trade right here. So first and first is you want to be able to know that the market does move in certain directions. Okay. Now and then it moves in certain ways that we as actually traders have to pay attention to. All right. Now, we all can tell basically if we look at the overall move on BTC USD, if you look at it from the monthly aspect or the 3 months view, you can see that in 3 months so far, we've seen BTC push to the upside. And then based on that, now we can see that even in the monthly time frame, it is currently tapping into this particular inside candle, okay, which potentially tells us that what that there is a volume there that needs to be filled. And then in that sense, we can potentially see more push to the upside. And with that, now we can potentially just go into the daily time frame and then just look for the perfect entry that we could get. And then for that, now I can also tell you that basically from this particular point here, this was the origin of this whole move that we had on BTC all the way from 99,000 till it got to 124,000 as at August this year. Okay. Now, but potentially this candle on the daily time frame was what started that move. And then this candle here is our point of interest. What does that mean? That means we've seen that this particular candle started this whole push and then in a sense led to a particular change of character here, which potentially pushed the price to the upside. Now, with that now we can now say that this particular candle here serves as well as our origin, okay, for this particular change of character that literally happened significantly here. So with this now, I can say that we are expecting same momentum that actually caused this particular push to the upside. to repeat itself here again. Okay, and then in this sense could give us what we would know as what an all-time high. Now, with a new all-time high in place, we can potentially see that that's like another opportunity for us to potentially just make some amount of money, and then off of BTC, it's literally just endless for real. The amount you can make on this chart when it comes to trading BTC day in day out is literally endless. Okay, so now remember that we are not leverage trading; we are only holding a position. And based on our live stream last week, I was looking at BTC, actually seeing if we could see a sell, which potentially it is sold off as of last week. Oh, we're looking for a buy last week, basically, just because of this particular region, yeah. And then the buy failed, and then automatically sold off. And now we are entering a new week. And I am still saying that that buy is still valid, and then we are going to push up from this particular point straight up to over 126,000 or 128,000. Now, this is what I see on BTC USD. And then if you can potentially see it again, you will see that liquidity already was swept. The liquidity from these particular zones, okay? Liquidity in these particular support levels have been swept. So we should be able to see that that liquidity is enough to actually do to push price to the upside. And then you need to know that what moves the market potentially is liquidity. I hope that makes sense to you. So what pushed the market potentially is liquidity. And we can also see that liquidity here also got taken out from this particular low here. So we could say that the liquidity within this region was swept, okay? And then that way now we can say potentially that price is about to use this particular volume it has accumulated and then distribute it to the upside. So we are just going to wait and see how that happens. But the sense is you don't just want to wait, you want to take action. You want to join in on this if you have enough money to put at risk and then make so much money off of this trade. Because if we potentially can each take profit on this trade, it means that we are doing 19,000 pips. That's crazy. Because look at it, all the way from risking 8,000 pips, we can get times two of that. So you need to know that that's a very, very serious issue. So now with this now, BTC is settled. We already know what we're looking for on BTC. We just need to see BTC trade above this particular region and then just keep pushing to the upside. And with that now, I can potentially tell you that this particular trade here is solid. Okay, this is a solid setup, and then this is something I will consider an A plus setup. Okay, I'm going to send this to the Telegram community now and the WhatsApp community as well. All right, good. So, with that being sent, now we can go further and then look out for gold. Now, gold is one of the pairs that most people have been anticipating to see what will literally happen on gold. Now, one thing is certain: we are still maintaining the previous week high, which is this particular point here. That high is still maintained, and the previous week low, which is this particular point here. Now with this now, we need to take and consider our equilibrium to be able to know what next or what line of action we're going to make now. And with this now, we can see again that we are currently trading what? Above equilibrium. Now with this now, if the market tends to open on in the next couple of minutes, then you will see our price could potentially keep rallying up until it gets to the previous day or the previous week high. Okay. Now with this now, I can potentially say that we also need to mark out the previous day high to be able to get exactly what we want. And then with this now, we know that this particular previous week high still serves as the previous day high because this was the highest point on Friday. And then the lowest point on Friday is this point here. So with this now, I can potentially take my measure 2 again and then go ahead and measure from this point downward here. Then I'm going to measure my equilibrium as this point, which then from this region here, I can then now continue and then look out for what essentially is going to happen on the 4 hour or during the daily time frame, okay, or during the day or the 15 minutes or whatever entry time frame that suits you. Okay. Now with this now, I can already see that our buys is currently above previous week equilibrium, above previous day high. So definitely, if the market tends to open, I still want to look out for more buys. And then in this sense here, we have our Quasimodo pattern formed nicely here and neatly on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, so we have a Quasimodo pattern which shows a potential reversal and the momentum that is coming. So potentially there is a lot of reasons why we can see more buys around this region. And then for that buys to be solid, and if one is to take consider the trade, you could go long from this particular point here. Now you need to target this particular equilibrium or the previous week high or the Friday high as well. But your stop loss shouldn't be more than this particular region. Okay. So if at all whatever is going to happen, you need to just know that you are keeping your stop loss in a safe place. Okay. Now this is 400 pips, and that's a lot. So you need to know that you need to be sure you are ready to actually put up that risk and then see how this particular will play out for this particular week. Okay, Monday we could see price trade all the way to the equilibrium, and then Tuesday we could see price just trade around, and then you could just watch whatever is going to happen. If the momentum is high, then you can potentially have a very good what's it called now, a very very good move on gold. So with this now, we can say that we are anticipating this particular buy here. And if this buy can really happen, then yeah, well, good luck. If it doesn't, then it's what it is, right? So now from here, we can now go ahead and look out for GBP JPY. So for gold now, we are looking at a buy. So I need to take a screenshot of that to be able to post it to the community as well. So upon market open, I am potentially looking for a buy around this region. So I'm going to send this right now to the community as well. So with this now, we could now look at what is potentially going to happen after this, whatever is going to happen, just what. So for GBP JPY, we need to also go to the daily time frame, of course, and then see what is potentially happening right about now. Okay, good. So we can see that there is a gap, and then this gap needs to be filled. Okay, this gap needs to be filled. This particular gap here needs to be filled. So once this gap is filled, then we can see the particular push that we need to the upside. Okay. So now, without any further ado, I'm just going to watch this pair GBP not so much of anything interesting. But for USD JPY, potentially there's still a sell coming in to still fill in this gap. Okay, because of course we can see a Quasimodo reversal right about here, and then that particular point here shows reversal. So with that now, we could see that price could come in and fill in this gap. So it is possible that we can see price fill in this gap this week before any interesting move, okay, on USD JPY. Now on Euro USD, which is a very good pair that most of you have not been paying attention to, and GBP USD. Let's look at what is going to happen with these two pairs. Okay. Now, so I have a very keen interest on looking out for more buys on Euro USD. In as much as the sales are prominent, I still want to look at what, in a sense, is literally happening in daily time frame. What is literally happening in daily time frame is this. Now, price, of course, has created series of change of characters in zones, and then we've seen potential points where price could still maintain these lower highs and lower lows. But for these buys to be solid, we need to see price potentially take out this particular high. So if price can take out this high, then I'm going to be looking out for a long right above this region here if this particular high is taken during the week. Okay, so what this means is we have to play the waiting game and then potentially just wait for price to come around and break above this region. Now, If you can't wait for that to happen, then you can surely wait, or you can just potentially just analyze based on what you're seeing right now on the 15 minutes time frame, which I can see that the market is open already, guys. The market is open. So with this now, I can already see that there is a push here all the way from this region. We've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen this all the way to this point. Okay. Now, which is good stuff, right? But the idea still remains that it still is in an uptrend, and then we can potentially see or take a buy whenever we see price trading above this trend line. Okay. If we can see price trading above this trend line, then we can take a buy and then consider that price has respected this particular order block here, and then that's what price is currently going to use to fuel its move to the upside. Okay, considering that it has taken out the liquidity from this region, taken out the liquidity from this particular region, and also taking out the liquidity from this region. So with this now, we can potentially say that price could still do still push to the upside, and then we need to just see how that will play out. So for this now, I need to see price trade above the trend line, and then I'm going to consider a buy probably to this region here, and then stop loss somewhere around below the trend line, and all of things like that. But most importantly, my main bias for this week is for price to trade above this box. Okay, so if I can see price trading above that particular box there on the daily time frame, that would require a lot of momentum also. Okay, it requires a lot of momentum to require price trading from this point all the way to this point, and that way it could be on Friday before we see that particular move that I am anticipating, and all of things like that. So for GBP USD, um, I got in a buy on what's it called on Friday, and then boom, stop loss just swept. But was it on Friday? No, yes, on Friday, good. And then see market still bought above. Whatever this happened, I don't even want to care. I don't want to think about it. Let's just remove this right. Let's go to the daily time frame again. So on the daily time frame again, we've seen that the candle closed indecisive, and that is, well, that's not our business, but we need the what, the particular highs and lows. Now let's look for the previous week highs and lows. So this is the highest point of the week, and this year, this candle here is the lowest point of the week. So with that, now we can measure equilibrium and then have what we're looking out for on GBP USD. So with this now, I'm just going to mark this equilibrium here. Good stuff. Now and then from here now, I'm going to look for the equilibrium of the previous day, which is Friday, and then to this point. So you see that price has to trade above the 1.34317 mark to be able to get that particular good continuation to the upside during today or during tomorrow, and while we are trading on Monday. So with this now, we can just go ahead and look out for what is going to happen right about now. So this year, previous day high, this year, equilibrium of previous week low. So we need to see GBP USD trade above the equilibrium of the previous day, and then from there we will consider a buy, and so on and so forth. So that's for GBP USD. For USD card, so much of a thing. We had take profit on this USD card trade. If you didn't catch this USD card trade, you missed out. It was a good trade. I mean, in 1:2 trade, whereby we just risked 13 pips to catch 30 pips. So if you had entered that trade with a good lot size, you would have made a lot of money for yourself. Okay. So with that being said, now you want to look out for what is going to happen on USD card again this week. Okay, because I see that it has a lot of momentum and possibility to give us that money we need if you know how to use your lot size. Okay, without to use your lot size. So from this now we can see that potentially we have a bearish candle, but that's not my business. My business is just to look for the previous week high, previous week low, and the equilibrium. Okay, so with this now I can just see that this year is the previous week low, and then this year is the highest point of the previous week, and then from this now I can take my equilibrium from here down to this point, and then since price is currently trading below the equilibrium, I would love to see a retest to the equilibrium, and then from there we can then potentially take a sell. But let's consider the previous day candle. Okay, Now this here is the high of the previous day, because this is the red one is the Friday candle. Okay, so we need that particular high and low of that candle. So with this now, we can go ahead and take our measurement for the equilibrium. And then you put down your equilibrium right there. And then with this now, you can just go to the 1 hour time frame or so, and then wait for a confirmation within this particular price point, which means that you don't want to wait for the previous day high or the previous day low to be broken out for a sell. That means I will be looking out for a sell below this region, and then I'm looking out for more buys above this particular region or this region, and then with that, then or within these 2 points, I'll just be able to consider a trade. So now, without further ado, let's go straight into. There's also a sell that's going to happen right here, which potentially could mean that price wants to tap into this particular region, and then that could make so much sense. That would make so much sense. Even if as much as price taking out this low would make so much sense and tapping into this particular region here. It would make so much sense. But we need that volume. We need that volume to be in check. So without any further ado, all this will be right in place and so on and so forth. So let's look at for I already explained BTC, explain what I'm expecting on BTC. We are still potentially seeing a buy all the way from the daily time frame. But this here is a position trade, and then you don't want to just miss out on this move again. This here is a position trade. But let's look at what it is on the short term. Let's look at what we could potentially see on the short term. So let me look for BTC USD, and let's go to Binance. Okay. Now, what could we see on the short term? On the short term, yes, we are still seeing break of structures. That means within this particular thing, where could you take another entry? That's what this short term means. That means what are you going to look out for to take an entry if you are late to the party? Okay. So first of all, we need to know that this particular high was taken out today, and then price broke out above it, then came back into it. But in a sense, we already have what a change of character at that point significantly. The reason is because this was the high that led to this particular one, to this particular sell. Okay, so now with that, now we can see that price is currently respecting that high, and then possibly if you had sold, then definitely right now you'll be making the profit, and then probably you'll be targeting this low or this particular low as your take profit now, which is fine. But we can potentially also say that there is a fair value gap here that we could trust for a push to the upside. And then with this now, we can also take our fib retracement all the way from this point down to this point, and then just be able to use it as a point of interest to look out for where we could potentially see some level of reversal. And this point here, 0.5, is also a key point where we could see a possible reversal. Now, with that now being said, someone who is in my class will know that this and this and this is the ABC pattern, because potentially we could see price create this, then tap in here, and then we could see what some buys. So potentially, I'm going to take or consider a V entry around the 107 region, which should be somewhere around here, and the max stop loss will be slightly below this particular zone here, and then we are going to position trade it again all the way to the top. So now with this, now we can then go into Ethereum. Same thing, just different currency names. Just going to look out for a particular opportunity within this same region. I'm going to wait for price to come in and possibly take out this particular region. Like just tap into this region, okay, this origin, because in a sense here we also have our ABC pattern. Price shot up, came down, then shot up again, then we expect it to come down, and then we expect it to push the upside. So with this now, I'm expecting a buy again from Ethereum around the 3,925 region. So with this now, we can see that we already have enough opportunities this week, and then if you are missing out, if you're not taking any of this particular trade seriously, then you are just going to miss out. Because we'll come back to this trade, we'll visit them next week, and we'll see how good or what they would have done within the time at which these particular trades were called. So for US 30, you can see US 30 is a very good pair. It has a lot of volume in it. Recently, there's been a lot of spikes up and down, and all these spikes are potential opportunity for you. If you're my student, you know that this particular support level here actually serves as well an opportunity for you to enter under the liquidation zone. So with that now, without any further ado, um, I hope you've been able to learn something this life. So if you have any question for me, please go ahead and input it in the chat box. If you have any page you want me to analyze again or go over again, just go ahead and input it in the chat box, guys. If you have any comments or any anything at all to say about this live stream currently, or if you have a question or if you want me to look into something, just let me know. Please, can I go over US 30? Okay, good. So now I'm currently on US 30, and potentially it looks like it is ranging. Okay, that means it is just within this particular region here, and then it is also within this particular region here. Okay, so now in this sense, now one could potentially just look at for what one could do. Now, what that means is price is currently tapping into this particular order block here, which literally potentially was the beginning of this particular um, change of character or break of structure, whatever it is called, around this region. So now we could see that there could be more sales, okay? But I wouldn't want to rush into a sell right about this point, okay? I want to see price trade above this region and then go short again, okay? But in a sense, if price break above this region, then we're going to focus on buying. Okay, we're going to focus on buying. But let's just do an analysis and then see what we have here. So this here serves as the weekly high here, and then this serves as the weekly low, which is fine. And then we can now take our equilibrium again, and then join in here. Okay, so with this now, one can potentially just take the measure to and consider the daily time frame, the daily candle. Okay, this is the lowest of the day, and then this is the highest of the previous day. So we can take our measure to, and we can see that price still shows more momentum to the upside. Okay, because it is trading above the previous day candle high and also the previous week high. So potentially we need to just see the equilibrium. I mean, the equilibrium, not the high now, the equilibrium, the previous week equilibrium and the previous day equilibrium. So now we just need to see price trade above this particular region, which is going to be the previous day high, and then we can potentially see more buys all the way to this top here. All the way to the stop. So potentially this year could be that trade that we need on US start probably on Monday or Tuesday or whenever this may be. So, but you need to just know that you have to go ahead and then have all these things checked out on your systems and set your alerts so that you get notified once all these particular points are being gotten to, like whenever price gets to this point. So if this particular region don't potentially push price upward, then I would want to see price trade around this particular one, the equilibrium of the previous week. Okay, so if we can see price trading around here, that will then be that we can consider the fib retracement, and then would give us a very, very nice entry. Good. So you can see that this is actually a very good entry because it is around the zero point 0.5 region. And then from that, we can then go ahead and go long. Okay. Very beautiful again, and then target around this point. And then this particular would be our stop loss. So with this now, you know what that means. You just have to allow the markets to come to you. You don't just want to jump in and then make a decision to rational. Okay. Okay. So now with this, now I'm going to send this to the Telegram community as well. So now, okay, good. Amos is asking that, please, can you go to Euro USD and tell us about the weekly equilibrium strategy? Okay, good. So that's a very good one. For Euro USD, we already went through it, and then I already said that potentially this is what I'm looking out for. Okay, now in a sense, I need to say price trade above the trend line for a potential buy. Okay, if that particular thing don't happen, then I don't have any business with trading Euro USD into a sell position. Okay, so now I'm going to remove all drawings again and go over it again. So now for this, now for Monday, we see that this was the candle of Monday, and then this is the candle of Friday. That means that this particular Tuesday candle was the lowest point price got to, and this Friday candle was the highest point price got to. And with that, now I can go ahead and measure my equilibrium from the previous week high to the previous week low, which is the highest and lowest point the market went to that week, which was last week, and then we can have our equilibrium right there. Okay, so with this now, I can now potentially look at for the weekly, the candle that's the daily candle now. So we need to streamline our strategy into looking at the daily candle, and then this candle here is the highest point of the Friday candle. Why this particular point here is the lowest point of the Friday candle. Okay, so that red candle here, this particular red candle is the Friday candle. So you can see the lowest point price got to there. So with that now, we can take the measure two and measure from the low down to the upside to be able to get our equilibrium of the previous day. And then with this now, we can see that price is currently trading below the equilibrium, but it is above the previous day low. Okay, so which potentially could give us an opportunity for a buy. Does it make sense? So, but for me to be able to confirm that buy, I made it known that we have liquidity already grabbed around these regions. We already have some lows taken out right about this particular point. Okay, but I need to see that this particular trend line is being respected. Okay, so if this particular trend line could be respected and price could trade above this particular trend line, then I would look for a push to the upside from this region straight up to the previous week high. Okay, and then my stop loss will be right about here. But if this particular break of this trend line don't happen, then I don't have any business with Euro USD until it breaks below the previous day low, and then it comes into the equilibrium of the previous week. Okay, because this particular this line here is the weekly equilibrium. That's the equilibrium of the previous week. So we could see it also pick up from around this particular point here. Okay, so we could see Euro USD pick up from that point in a sense because it is forming the ABC pattern in a sense. So if you look at it carefully, we would see the ABC pattern formed right there. Okay, so with this now, this would be a very, very solid setup for you. This would be a solid setup. So respecting the equilibrium of the previous week and also maintaining the, also maintaining the, what's it called now? The ABC pattern, right? The ABC pattern. So I hope I've been able to understand that, Amos, so you know what you're expecting on your USD for this week. So if we see that sell into that particular region, then you consider a buy all the way to the top, and that would be a very, very good one if one is able to catch that move. Okay. So is there any other thing that you want me to go through? Okay, guys, so if there is none, then I'm going to call it a day right here. Thank you very much for joining this live stream, and I can't wait to see you guys make good money off of this particular, off of this particular analysis, and then make sure you are always, showing up, okay? Because importantly, this is what really does matter. Okay, showing up every day, every now and then, is what really matters. So potentially, this is what we're looking at first on the Euro USD as well. That's how we set up the play. Good stuff, David. I'm glad that last week analysis actually helped you. This is what I love to see actually, and then I'm glad it literally did help you. Good stuff, David. Good stuff, David. I hope this week one too will help you as well. Okay, so see you guys. Bye.